Hi, my name is Brooke Lipman.
My name is Dr. Deb Lipman.
And this is Wine Together,
a podcast where we drink wine and have a chat.
So sit back, relax, and get that corkscrew ready. Last week, we chatted about food. This week, we'll be talking about our favorite TV shows. What's your favorite TV show?
Well, I wouldn't say that I rank them as favorites, just what I'm currently watching. I'm currently watching 2 with your dad.
Okay.
Welcome to Wrexham. We're trying to get caught up on that because we went about a year without watching, so we're 2 seasons behind.
Okay.
So we're catching up on that. And I just started watching Loot with Maya Rudolph, who is...
She's really funny.
She's the best.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. It's really, really good. I don't think your dad likes it as much, but I love it. It's just the right kind of comedy for me. It's, a little easygoing.
Nice.
And it kind of makes sense for my age.
Yeah.
She fits my age group, I think.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, my favorite TV show is Ted Lasso.
Oh, I do love Ted Lasso. I think I've seen the entire... what do you call it? Series. I've seen the entire series at least 3 times. And, there's just so many good things about it. I think what I like the most is it touched on subjects that to teach the public.
Yeah.
I'm all about writing books to teach the public. Make a TV show to teach the public. It's all about teaching the public because we unfortunately don't have that in schools anymore. There's we're teaching to the test and blah blah blah. We could just go on and on about that. But when you have something like that can teach the public, I'm all for it. And I love Waddingham. She's just she's my favorite. Absolutely. I mean, look, Keely is just great, but Rebecca Waddingham's character is just she's absolutely my favorite. And again, she just everything she does, every award show she goes to, every event she goes to, she teaches the public, and I love that about her.
Yes, she is fantastic. Rebecca is probably one of my favorite characters. Absolutely.
Well, you know what? I love Leslie.
He is just such good comedic relief.
He absolutely is, and he's just so. I think that the way they wove his character in and out was just. It was spectacular because I think you could really feel for him, and I think the way they embraced his family, the character's family, and they were just such a huge part in the background, and it just felt so familiar to me. And I thought, and even your dad and I, when we were watching it the first time, the Christmas episode, and I said, you would do that. If that was your role on a team, you would do that. And he said, yes, I would. He said, and you would accept it. And I would. We would absolutely play that role. So I think, so I love Leslie.
Oh, absolutely. I think the way his jokes are so a product of his time, and he realizes it too late.
Yeah.
And so every time he makes a joke and he's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
I think he's fantastic. And his character is so evident, like his characteristics are so evident in everything that the show put him through when he had to move out of his office and stuff like that, and where he'd just show up in the most odd places, he'd still have that plant, right by his computer, and I thought the selfless, I guess the selflessness of that character, but he cares so much, not just about. I mean, the love for his family and for his wife is so obvious. But the care that he shows for everybody, and he doesn't judge people. He gives people time. And he marinates on them, I guess I would say, and learns them and teaches himself, how to be the best he can be for that person. And I like that.
Yeah.
But I think every character on that show made that show.
Absolutely.
And so I think that the casting, I don't know how Jason Sudeikis did it, but he did it,
Yes.
and it was phenomenal, and I did see that it could go further, but you know what? I'm okay that they're done.
Yeah, I think the
Because I
show...
don't want watching again.
Yeah. Well, the show has... I mean, some shows have a certain amount of episodes and places they can go, and I think that show specifically, and like what the writers have said, is that Ted's story is done. It's finished. And yes, there are other characters that have stories, and I think some people were hoping for like a spin-off series, maybe with the women's team that Keeley started.
Yeah, I like that.
I think that could be a great place for it to go, but Ted Lasso, his story is finished, and that's okay.
Yeah, and it is okay. It is okay. I think he, like I said, they touched on so many important topics. They certainly opened the conversation about, why it's inappropriate to treat women in certain ways. And I just think that many people have tried to open that door, and, only to have, to have it just kind of closed back on them. But he opened it well enough that even I heard from a family member. She said, we started watching that show that you were telling us about, but we had to stop because the feelings just got too real for so and so.
Yeah.
And I thought, that is so fun. But I have heard that they finally went back to it after I encouraged them to get back to it. I said, you should finish it. It's so good.
It's very good.
Yeah. And I think that I could just watch it over and over.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen it like 7 times.
That's something I should download it on one of my devices and take it with me when I'm going to the U.S. this next time. But, I don't, because I won't have a lot of TV options.
Yeah.
On there, which I won't need them.
Yeah.
I'll stay very busy. I'll be very, very busy. So I'm not too worried about needing to watch TV. But, it's okay.
Yeah.
What other TV shows? What about when you were young? Do you remember any shows that you liked to watch?
Just like the kids' cartoons. I loved Dora the Explorer.
Oh, I forgot. Yes, you did. You were Dora the Explorer. Yes, you were.
I would be a little bit racist.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, yeah. You loved having a backpack and it was funny because it did kind of teach you to pack your bag and be prepared, because let me tell you, as a dancer,
I know,
you were the one that had everything anyone needed. If
Even
they would say,
college.
I needed blah, 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 oh, I've got that in my backpack.
Even in college, I was the person that most people would be like, hey, do you have this?
And believe it or not,
I carried breath mints in my bag, and it came in handy. Like once. I think it was only once they came in handy. I carried cough drops, and a professor needed cough drops because she had bronchitis. Yeah. And I was like, I got you. And I gave her like a handful, and she's like, I don't need it. And the next time I saw her, she was like, I used every single one of those.
Yeah, that's so funny. You definitely learned from Dora to be prepared with your backpack. Carry what you need, and then think of others and what others might need. And it's so funny. Unfortunately, you couldn't just say map and it just
I know, right?
appear in front of you. But I guess with your with your handy. I'll never forget when I first learned that word. Barbara was talking to me right before, when you were kind of auditioning for that dance and music school. She said something about, do you have it in your handy? And I thought, okay, that's got to be cell phone.
Yeah.
Handy has to be cell phone, because that's the only thing I had in my hand was my cell phone. So I was like, no. Yeah, I think she was talking about a number to the school or something. And I thought, no, I don't. But and then of course I learned that was the word, the German word for cell phone, and I thought that is so funny because so many words just make sense in German. Yeah. So it really really does. So. Yep. Amazing thing about learning a language is you learn your own language better. Yeah, it's kind of to teach another language would be to help students learn their own language. So that's kind of good. So what TV shows?
Recently I finished Acapulco on Apple TV. That was a really good show.
Yeah. I know you've told us several times we need to pick that one up after we finish Welcome to Wrexham. So.
It's 3 seasons long, and I mean it's a perfect summer show because it takes place at a resort in Mexico. It takes place over a year. Kind of. It actually takes place over 3 days, but the story takes place over a year.
Okay, some of the background.
So, yeah. And Christopher Hernandez, who plays Danny Rojas, is in it.
Oh,
and
stop.
he basically plays the same character, except he's an artist, and
Does he have the hair?
He does.
I love it, an artist with the hair.
He has the long hair. He wears the unbuttoned shirts.
Yeah.
And his
shorts and no shoes.
I don't think so. No, I think he wears long pants.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if he doesn't wear shoes. I didn't see his feet.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's one part where he definitely wears shoes, but I don't want to spoil it for you.
Okay.
You have to watch it. But he doesn't show up until the end of season 3. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Actually, he might show up at the beginning of season 3, and then his character leaves for a bit and then comes back.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, and I've told you several times. Mm-hmm. I don't mind knowing things about shows and movies. It really does not.
I think for this reason you just have to watch it. I don't want you to. I'm
not one of those that gets upset about spoilers, and so y'all can always tell me.
I don't,
because it doesn't bother me. It's just like reading a book. I'm still going to read the book.
Yeah, but this one you can't have the spoiler because you have to watch it. It's a big like cliffhanger thing, so it's supposed to be a big surprise.
Okay, well, I will definitely watch it. I mean, that might be one of the ones that I have to download and watch by myself. Mm-hmm. Dad's busy with other stuff, but
I think he would like it. I really do think.
Well, he likes that. He loves that actor that plays Danny Rojas.
Yeah,
he loves that actor. So I mean, when he came on to Ted Lasso, I think that. It definitely brought a little more life back into the show. And so, and so it just, it kind of picked it up for your dad at least.
A little fun fact, so the role of Jamie and the role of Danny were originally one character. And they loved both Phil Dunster and Christopher Hernandez so much, they split the character into 2 parts for them. Just so they could have both of them on the show.
That's fantastic.
So,
I love Brett Goldstein's story about getting on the show. As he was writing it, he said, "I am Roy. I am Roy," and so he kind of let them know that he wanted to audition, and it just because the writing is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
So this team of writers, I just want to give kudos to you. Phenomenal writing. Again, because you teach the public. So I'm so happy about that. I mean, if I ever write a book, it's definitely going to be a fictional book. Maybe, some of the fun, exciting things we've done in our life, but will be interwoven in that. But it's definitely going to be to teach the public. We've got to teach people how important education is, how important it is to read and to just always keep moving forward. Always become a better you every single day. And that means you have to learn. You have to grow. Like we were forced to learn a language when we moved here, and I was, for 3.5, maybe 4 years, I fought that. I fought it, and now, because I learned the language, it helped me, and it has made me more confident. So I think that you can watch a show and learn something, and it help you. I mean, I absolutely learn from TV, and I know I love to watch TV. I would honestly. If I could have a week of just watching TV, I would watch TV.
Interesting.
Because I love to watch TV, and I think maybe it's because I didn't get to. I mean, I would have to wait till everybody in the house went to sleep, and I'd go sneak and watch late night TV because I didn't sleep well, and so but I would watch TV because we weren't allowed to have a TV in our room, And so I would have to use the family TV in the living room. But yeah, everybody would be asleep by 11:30, and there I was watching the silly stuff, Benny Hill and Unsolved Mysteries and things like that came on late at night. Those were and I learned from those things. And so, I do learn by seeing and hearing. And I learned by reading, but it's much more seeing and hearing. And I just enjoy watching TV. And I know, there's so many negatives to be said. There's so many people say negative things about, but TV actually has always been a comfort to me. And it's actually always, it was the one thing I could get your dad to do with me. I mean, he doesn't like to watch a lot of TV. He'd much rather be playing on the PS5. But it's something that we do together. We always try to find shows that we both like. And then that's not too hard because I like just about everything. There's not much I don't like.
Yeah.
But do you think watching TV is a bad thing? Because I'd watch it all day long.
I think if you watched it all day long, it's a bad thing. But, I mean, unless you're not doing it that, every day. But, I don't know. I can't focus that much. I think to watch it all day long, I have to be really into the show. I think that's kind of tough for me sometimes. So, I don't know.
It's funny because I have a hard time watching movies like that. I have a hard time watching movies because of how long they are. But TV, I could sit and stream. And for some reason, it doesn't seem the same. But maybe it's because I'm getting up in between and,
Yeah.
Oh, that's what one show I'm watching right now is called Outer Range with Josh Brolin. And I love that one because I'm trying to figure out where is the story going.
Okay.
And I have no clue.
Interesting.
Because it's in and out and in and out. And so I have no clue where the story's going. So I really, really like it. And the cinematography in it is just unmatched, for a TV show. Yeah. So that's a good one on Amazon Prime. Outer Range. I like that one.
I haven't seen that one.
It makes you think. It's not necessarily one of those teach the public kind of things that I like. But it definitely makes you think. I mean, there's, I guess you could call it a little sci-fi mystery. But it's got a lot of beautiful nature in it. And even the sci-fi part of it is about nature.
Okay.
So that's kind of interesting that's kind of interwoven in it. And it's not necessarily, I think a lot of times when I think of sci-fi, I think things like Star Wars and I think of outer space and stuff. And it's not. This is in the ground nature. So, interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I actually have seen all that many TV shows now that I think about it. Because, I can't think of too many. I watched the Percy Jackson TV show. I really enjoyed that one, just because I love the books so much. But, I don't think I watch all that many TV shows, unless they're, on in the background while I'm doing something else, maybe. But,
I've watched so much TV over my 58 years. Before you were born, I loved The West Wing. I think that was before you were born. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe a little bit was before you were born. I love The West Wing. Yeah, I like anything with Rob Lowe. I'm sorry. And that show, Brothers and Sisters, I loved it.
I haven't seen that one.
A Million Little Things, I loved it. Again, I've seen so much TV.
It.
The Resident, I even like The Resident. I love The Good Wife.
I also haven't seen either of those.
So many good shows that have been out there. And, I'm not one to be loyal to a station, so I mean when USA first started coming out and they had Suits was phenomenhaul, and I think the show might have been called Graceland. I only remember one or two seasons. Is that the
one with
Aaron Tveit?
Yeah.
Yes. And the guy that plays Johnny on there, oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, I just loved him.
But you haven't seen Parks and Rec, which Rob Lowe is also in.
Oh, no, I haven't. But
his character is fantastic.
Okay. His character's always great. I've always been a Rob Lowe fan, so that's so funny.
His brother, Chad Lowe, is in Pretty Little Liars, which I can't say I enjoyed that TV show. I think it's a really good guilty pleasure show. It's very stupid.
Okay.
Like in a good way.
Okay.
It's not... I don't know if it can be classified as a favorite TV show by anyone. It's like a lot of those like teen drama shows, which I actually haven't seen like any of them, but it's kind of like Degrassi and Secret Life of American Teenager mixed together, even though I think I've only seen a few scenes from those shows. But it's very... It's very like, it's a murder mystery kind of.
Okay, well, talking about teenage shows,
Yeah.
Beverly Hills 90210.
I also haven't seen that.
Let me tell you, growing up, I love that show. And now that both Dylan and Brenda are dead, like in real life, I mean,
Yeah, was that
I'm just devastated.
Matthew Perry that was in it?
Luke Perry.
Luke Perry. Okay.
Luke Perry and Shannon Doherty were Dylan and Brenda.
Okay.
And they I mean, there was a lot of, kind of tension when they were in high school. And they eventually they get together. And then they break up.
Okay.
And I think they broke up before the end of high school. But anyway, then it goes on into their college years, that's when Brian Austin Green was introduced to the show. And lots of other young actors were introduced to the show during that time. And some of them went on, with, a lot of success. But I have to say, I love that show. That was my young adult, late teen young adult show. So that was. So it was funny. They're different, but maybe there's some similarities. But again, it wasn't one of those teach the public shows. I think they tried. The writers did try a few things to throw in there to kind of because there's always political stuff going on. And sometimes TV shows try to touch on it. But, there's just a gentle way to do it. You've got to do it just right. And so, and I think that, they did touch on some of it, but it didn't go far enough to really teach the public the way Ted Lasso did. But that was a good one. So I have to say, let me talk about series of shows.
Okay.
Because it's gonna come around to one of our favorites.
Okay.
But okay, I'm going to start with the Chicago series.
Okay.
Because one, Chicago is important to me. I love Chicago. Love you, Chicago. Oh, I'll be back. Don't worry. I'll come back and visit. So it started out, I think it started out with Chicago Fire. Or, I don't know, maybe it was Chicago PD was first. I don't know. One of those two were first. And then Chicago Med jumped in. And so you had the 3 Chicago shows. And there were other shows that came along before the Chicago series, like ER was a great one before you were born. And even, this was the first TV show that Dad watched with me.
Okay.
Early in our marriage, I was into 2 shows before we got married.
Okay.
And it was NYPD Blue and ER.
Okay.
And he picked up on the ER. He loved that one. Loved the medical drama. Loved the characters and the actors. He didn't pick up too much on the NYPD Blue, but recently, about a year ago, I found it on Disney Plus and started watching it from the beginning. And if it were on when he came home, he'd say, "Oh no, leave it on."
Yeah.
Because he remembered a few little things that even when we were watching it, we were young, and he felt like I watched too much TV. Yeah, he really judged me on that, by the way. But evidently he was kind of watching it in the background doing his other things. But because he, when we started watching it again all these years later, 20-some years later, it was, oh, no, I want to watch it. And we watched it together, and it was kind of funny. Yeah. Because, here we've been married 30 years. And so that was kind of funny that happened. But then the ER show, now he was really into that.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but it was kind of funny. But anyway, that brings me back to, because, ER, they kind of touched on, some things that were happening in around Chicago at the time. The, Michael Jordan and the Bulls and stuff like that. So they, they kind of brought that into the show. Just a teeny bit on the edges, just in the outer edges. But Chicago Fire and the Chicago series, I love all the characters and the actors in those shows. These actors were excellent. But you know what? Maybe not as much I may not have the same affinity for them as I have for
SBU.
well, any of the
I was
Law
gonna
and
say
Order, the
SVU.
New York series, right? We
Yeah.
got the New York series with Law and
Yeah.
Order, SVU,
Yeah.
and so many other spin-offs that have come from that. You know, the very early Law and Order, Christopher Noth, Jerry Orbach, you know, Esapatha Merkelson. I don't know her name, but anyway, I really like her character. She's tough, and you know but yet the writers did at one time show, you know, her softer side. You know, talking about you know her. They kind of brought her family into it, and that was really touching. But they always let her be smart and tough, and you know, and yet let her like. There was one show where she was watching the interview from the outside, and it dawned on her what was going on with this person that they had, this suspect that they had in there that they were questioning. And the writers didn't tell you right away, but she goes into the interview room and she tells the others to leave out, and she touches on a subject that I knew nothing about. I mean, this a moment of teaching the public. But she leans down to the suspect and she says, "I cannot believe it," or something like this. Anyway, she says, because we think this suspect is an old white man. She said, "You pass." And, you know, at the time I'm watching, I didn't know what that means. And then her character goes on to explain what that means. About her grandma had told her that, you know, there were people that, you know, just would not talk because, you know, that would kind of give them away. But if their skin was just the right tone, they could kind of pass for a white person. And they wouldn't go through all the same things that the black people in that time, in those certain towns, were going through. And so when she talked about this phenomenon of pass, you know, I'd never, you know, heard that. And then a few years later, I met someone that honestly I had known him for 3 or 4 months. Always thought he was a white man.
Okay.
And he was not. I finally meet his children, and it's obvious. And well, my first thought was, oh, well, he just married a black woman and had children. But no. He was a black man that, you know, had lived in New York for a while, and then his former wife, she had passed away, was a black woman. But yeah, and it was just, I just never knew. But you know, when I saw his brothers, you know, it was very obvious. You know, his brothers did not pass, but he did, and I thought, you know, I never even knew that was a thing. And so, but her character just laid right into it, and she just taught the public so easily about that. And I thought, no, that was a really kind of interesting moment of teaching. But I love the New York shows.
Yeah.
I love the New York ones.
I did not like organized crime very much.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't get to see it.
I don't think they did a great job with it. I stopped watching after the first couple episodes because I couldn't get through
was it because Benson and Stabler were finally together?
They didn't get together until later in that show.
Oh, okay. Because I think
that also doesn't
that
help.
would have bothered me. I really liked it at the end of one season when the guy from Internal Affairs,
Tucker.
I liked that couple of Benson and Tucker. That would, to me, as much as I didn't expect to like it, because when it was first happening, I was like, no, what are these writers doing? No. But then I ended up thinking, they're perfect together.
Yes.
They really, their yin and their yang together really made a whole. And I liked it. And I wish that relationship could have gone on until one passed away or something.
Well, it did.
Oh,
Tucker
I missed
passed
that.
away.
I missed that. But they were still together?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't think they were together.
I think they were.
See, I didn't see much. Okay, so after I've so lost. I mean, I haven't seen the show. You know, we've been here at least 5 years, and then when I had started working, I was always working when the new one was coming on, so I didn't get to see them as they were coming on. And then, and it's so funny because then when Netflix first came out, they had these discs that you got in the mail.
Yeah.
So I started doing the SVU that I had missed on those discs.
Okay.
But I never got caught up because I couldn't watch it back to back to back.
Yeah.
You know, and so I would have to take the disc back and then wait for another one to come, and so that was but
yeah, I think it's not been the greatest the last couple seasons, but I'm a little bit behind now because I was caught up for a while and then I came back here, so I haven't been able to watch it.
Yeah, I haven't figured that out, but that's okay. Things will happen, and we'll find a way. And there's a show that Dad and I love because of Titus Welliver. If you're out there, Titus, listen.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, he's an actor.
Okay.
Well, he's closer to my age, so you would know. But he's been in a lot of great things. He had a role in NYPD Blue.
Okay.
As a doctor, he was Bobby's doctor. No, he was not. Maybe he was. But anyway, he helped Bobby's doctor. But anyway,
I've
he doesn't.
only seen like an episode of NYPD
so he
Blue,
was. So he's in a show called Bosch on Amazon Prime.
I've heard of Bosch.
And so there's a spinoff called Bosch Legacy that we have not been able to catch up on. But I'm pretty sure we caught up on all the Bosch series. And then so that one is a really, really good one. I told you, Dad, I just noticed that I can get it on the PS5 down here in the office. We got to watch Bosch. And then another one on there is Jim from The Office. What's that?
John Krasinski.
John Krasinski.
He's in Jack Reacher, right?
No, he's in Jack Ryan.
Whatever.
Yes, and it's so good.
I haven't
It
seen
is
that
so good. Oh yeah. So I do like CIA shows.
Yeah. Have you seen The Office?
I have seen The Office, and I'm pretty sure we watched all of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Now
I've seen
some
that
of
one quite a
them
few
were
times.
just kind of background noise, like you've said before. We're just background noise, so I'm pretty sure I've seen them all. Or they've all played, when I've been in the vicinity. But as far as sitting and watching all of them, no, I don't get sometimes you guys will all say, oh, it's just like that episode of The Office. Well, I want you to know, before The Office, there was Seinfeld. And so your oldest brother used to always say, oh, there's this episode of Seinfeld. This reminds me of blah, 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 and Seinfeld. And so that was his thing. And then when y'all came along, and it was, oh, it reminds me of this episode of The Office, it just gave me such great memories. Of when your oldest brother was saying that about Seinfeld. I thought that was so funny. And so, Seinfeld was pretty fun. I did rewatch that whole series when it came out on Netflix. I watched it from the beginning, and that was pretty good. I had built a class around that show for Amelia. So, when we were homeschooling. And we did a class called The World According to Seinfeld because, during that time, it was about... I really focused on the relationship building. Okay. For that, and of course she was only focused on the clothes they were wearing. It was so hilarious. Like, why did they wear their jeans all the way up? Which is so funny. So that was kind of the funny thing, but there was just a lot of good. I felt like there were a lot of good lessons to be learned. Okay. And I felt like that class that I developed with that show kind of resonated well.
Interesting. I watched the first, I think, 2 episodes, and I couldn't finish it. I didn't like it very much. But I think
you didn't even wait for Elaine to get there.
She was on one of the episodes.
She wasn't in the pilot, I don't think.
No, but I think she was in the second episode. I didn't like it.
She really.
But I do love Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She's really funny. Yeah. But it was the same. I think it might have been the same reason I didn't like Friends. It just everything felt forced.
Yeah.
I
did like Friends. I thought, I thought the writers did a pretty decent job on that show. I did. I kind of liked a lot of that because, there was a lot. I think that I like that no one ever really went away. Okay. And Friends, even though there were teasers that, one might or might not, and it just... and I think, then learning background knowledge about what some of the actors were going through at the time that they were shooting that, I think that it just kind of made that show a little more special to me when I rewatched it. Because I'm, watching it from the beginning. But one show I've never ever seen that I've always wanted to see.
What?
Sex and the City.
I've also always wanted to see that.
I have not seen it, and I heard that it was. I think it might be on Disney Plus or something. I don't know.
No, I think the movie is on something.
Well, I
but
want to see the show
isn't.
before I watch the movie.
I think it's on Max actually.
Oh, okay.
Just HBO.
Okay. So I never ever watched that, and it just I think that I want to.
Yeah.
I do want to see it.
Have you? What? Oh my God, the actor's name that I know he's in Friends. He plays Ant-Man. I can't think of his name.
Paul Rudd?
Yes. I was like, it's Paul something.
He's not in Friends.
Yeah, he is. Apparently, he's a.
Oh, maybe he gets started.
Season?
Oh, no, last season. Like, maybe he was.
But
he wasn't always on it. Like
or maybe he was on like Gossip Girl or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't seen Gossip Girl either. But he's in Parks and Rec, and you would love his character because you just have to watch it.
Okay.
You
say that. I remember. It's so funny because some of the books you've recommended I read. You'll say, oh, "Don't you just love his character?" And it's so funny that I do. Yeah. When you point out one of the characters, I was like, "Oh yeah, I really do." So kind of. I guess you know my personality about what I like and don't like in people.
You would like it just because you would also really love Leslie Knope, and she's very not necessarily in the episodes they're in together, she's the opposite of him, and I just think you would really love their interactions.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
Okay. I need to write that down.
You have to watch it. It's really good.
Well, I think there's been so many great TV shows over the years, and I know there's going to be so many more. And I know there's going to be many I don't ever get to see, and but I think that one, I'm glad that some of the writers write as they do. I think that I think you have to give a lot of credit to the writers.
Yeah.
Because they do see kind of what's going on in real life, and I'm sure they're stopped sometimes. I'm so glad the writers were not stopped on Ted Lasso. Maybe they were stopped a little bit. Maybe they could have gone further, but I'm glad that they were not held back.
Yeah,
because I felt like some of the issues that needed to be touched were vital.
Did you ever finish watching The Crowded Room?
No.
Okay, that one, I think it's good because I think it makes people uncomfortable. And I read the book that it's based on, and it's very well written. And I think you feel like a certain level of empathy for the character, not necessarily like, in a way like, oh, like, they because obviously the point is they showed he did a terrible thing.
Okay.
But I think it's just such a good
Is
TV
that the
show.
one based on the mini minds of...
Okay.
I did not finish that.
The Minds of Billy Milligan, yeah.
Yes, I want to finish that because I was really getting into that. However, and I think that I was feeling so much empathy for him.
Yeah.
But was that because Tom Holland played that character?
I don't know. I think he played it. I just think he played it really well. I don't know if anyone else could play that character as well as he did, because he gets really into his character. And he took a year off from acting because of it. But he gets into his characters.
It is. I will say now that I know the premise and I see the title.
Yeah.
I see that room. I know where that room's at.
Yeah.
It's not my home office.
No.
And I know that room, and I mean, I understand the crowding.
Yeah.
I don't have that many personalities, fighting for, my attention, but I do have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that, I mean, I'm going to cry talking about this.
It's such a good show.
He is such a phenomenal actor.
He is. He's fantastic.
That, not many people could have done that. Because, I honestly, I'm still at the point that, because I know the book, I can see kind of, what's coming. But it's different. It's different than reading the book, and it's because you can see someone playing it out. acting it out, and it just is amazing. He
It
is so good at it.
Yes.
So good that you just think, oh yeah, I definitely. Well, I've always had empathy for people who are misunderstood, and I don't think that there's any excuse for doing wrong, but some people really don't know the difference, and so. And some people just don't care. I get, and there's so many in there, in that room, in that space. So that, it's a shame that they all have to pay the price for one. That's just like your teacher telling you, well, if somebody doesn't say who took blah, 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 you're all going to be punished.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
not right. That's not fair, right?
I don't think it's necessarily kind of like that. It's more like there's one person that it's a shame that they're being punished for what the others are doing. But I think you have to finish the show to see that. Okay. But it's very good. It's only one season. Okay. And it's a fantastic show. And
what was I watching that on?
Apple TV.
Apple TV. Okay. All right. Oh, I want to finish Lessons in Chemistry on Apple TV.
I haven't seen that yet.
I love the first 2 episodes. I'm loving that. Yeah.
So, I also want to watch The Morning Show because that's Lisa Kudrow also, right?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Is it or no?
Is
it's
it Jennifer Aniston.
Yes, it's Jennifer Aniston. Not Lisa Kudrow.
Oh yeah.
I don't. Yeah. I know the actors' names. I just haven't seen Friends, so I don't know what they actually look like.
Yeah, it's okay. They're all great. They really were. I don't know if their relationship outside of that apartment that most of it was set in. I don't know if it was anything like what was on the show, but they're either really, really, really good actors, or there was a genuine care in their relationships. You know, so I think that was kind of nice for me. You know, because I would love to have friends like that, but you know, I'm not that kind of person to seek that. You know, and you know, I mean, I think it, but I would never, you know, kind of be that kind of person that would pursue that kind of those kinds of friendships. Yeah. But anyway, a lot of good shows. There's a lot of good shows coming out. A lot of good shows that I haven't watched yet. So, well, thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the conversation.
We'll be back next week with a new bottle of wine and a new topic. In the meantime, if you want to join the conversation, follow us on Instagram and TikTok @WineTogetherPod.